Nat 20. Hi guys, Merlin here, bringing you another Dungeons and Dragons adventurer video. So today we are going to take a look through issue 2 of the magazine. So we'll dive a little more in depth to all the articles within these pages. Finished reading it just the other day, so it's pretty fresh in my head. So we'll have a good read through that together. We'll also look at the freebies we get, which is a beautiful set of gold effect dice and a beautiful map of the surrounding area of Phandolin. So the collection is shaping up to be pretty good. They haven't revealed too much in the way of what we're getting with each issue, but they have revealed that from issue 7 onwards we'll be introducing a new character class as well as a new pre-made character. There's going to be eventual expansion into the wider D&D world from what I read in a few of these articles. So we're going to definitely expand past Phandolin and its surrounding areas. So that'd be quite nice for us to go into in later issues. I am still unsure if I'm going to go the whole hog, but I have had a good lot of feedback of the first 2 videos. So here's hoping things will keep going and I will be doing the entire thing. I'm still looking up how to do the adventures. I've got a few channels to look at, so I'm going to take a look at those over the weekend. And then I can figure out how I will do them myself. But I'm looking forward to doing it. It'd be quite nice. I haven't DM'd a session for 7 years? Something like that. Hell of a long time. But yeah, definitely looking forward to playing the sessions and doing what I can. I might do like single character adventures, maybe do an extra, maybe just do 2, mix and match. So do one combat-y, one wizardy sort of character. So I've got a bit of mix of everything. But yeah, looking forward to doing that. So yeah, let's get on to the actual issue, but before we do, don't forget to, of course, like this video if you are enjoying the content, and if you are, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so, as it's the only way you can keep up to date with all my mad adventures. Finally, don't forget there's all the links in the video description down below, including the Mad Merlins Patreon and my affiliate links. So let's dive into issue 2 of Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer. So here we are then with issue 2 of Dungeons and Dragons Adventurers. Learn, play and explore in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. So with this issue we got this lovely set of gold yellowy sort of dice with a nice glittery effect on the inside. And yeah, these look fantastic. I think these are probably, out of the 2 sets we've had so far, these are my favourite. So we'll give those a roll in a minute. So we got our issue inside. We have our brand new adventure for the issue. We start to look at spellcasting. We learned how to play a rogue. And also we learn about advantage and inspiration. Plus we are welcomed to the Forgotten Realms. So we'll take a look at this in just a sec. But first off, we've got this beautiful large mat. So what I'll do, I'll zoom out and I'll get this on camera for you. So there we go, we just about get it all in. If I had a bit more space and moved back my screen, I'd have had a bit more room, but we can pretty much see all of it. So yeah. Here we have Phandolin down here where we are starting our adventures. We have the Elven Crypt. That is to do, I believe, with the actual mission we'll be playing in this issue. We have Icespire Peaks, Dead Knock Mine, the Observatory, the actual mountains along here are known as the Sword Mountains, Crypt Garden Forest, the Ruined Villa, Neverwinter Wood, which looks very immense, almost like a Mirkwood type of system, where it goes from the mountains all the way down to the coast there. And then over here would have been, I guess, Lorien, That's Lorien comes down a little further towards the south of Mirkwood. But yeah, really cool, nice looking design to the woods anyway. So each little hex is roughly 25 to 30 mil big. So perfect size for your Dungeons & Dragons figures that we'll be getting in issue 3. And each hex equates to roughly 5 miles. So from Phandolin down to the high road, we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, nearly 30 miles. Yeah, really cool, perfect for when we are out in the wilds, and hopefully we'll get a few more maps, because this is sadly one-sided, it's just plain red on the other side. But it is nice thick cardstock, very similar to the battle mats we get with Imperium and Conquest and Mortal Realms and all that stuff. But yeah, really good. We'll definitely be using this, hopefully, in future videos. Right, and let's take a look at the rest of the issue. We've got the dice to have their little roll session, and then we'll go through the issue. So I've brought in my dice tray again, and let's give these beautiful, like I say, you can see that they got like a glittery pearlescent effect on the inside of their molding, and the white stands out really nicely against the yellow. So fantastic set of dice. But let's give these a roll, see what we get. 16, 10, 4, 4, 6, 4, and a 1. Not too bad for a first rolling on camera. But yeah, like I said, I definitely like these a lot better. I think I'm going to be replacing the set in the tin with these, as I definitely use these until we get the blue ones, which are supposed to be in our second adventure set. So yeah, quite nice. So let's put these back in their little bag for the moment, and we will then take a look through our issue. Right, let's dive into issue 2 of Dungeons & Dragons Adventurer. So, our full contents. So, for our adventure, we have Adventure 1, Mission 2, The Forgotten Vault. For the rest of our contents, our Sage Advice, we get A, Overview, Part 4 and 5A. We also get Section C, Spellcasting. So we start looking at how spellcasting is done, focusing on our 2 spellcasting characters. For our character creation section, we have B, Species, and we look at humans, one of the most common species around in the realms. And then we also start taking a look at classes with 1A and 1B, all about the rogue. Finally, for our lore then, we get the Forgotten Realms. And as usual, we got with this issue box. So second issue comes with a set of gold dice plus a map of Phandolin region in which your first few adventures will take place. And we have the usual QR code there that will take you to the D&D Beyond website. So you can free scan it if you want to use it. So first off then, we have Advantage, Disadvantage and Inspiration. Inspiration and Advantage increase your character's chances of success in Dungeons & Dragons, while Disadvantage makes it harder for them to achieve their goals. So, as we're well aware so far, all actions in Dungeons & Dragons will be resolved via a dice roll. And Advantage and Disadvantage basically give you the chance to double up on those. So, for Advantage, you'd roll 2 dice and you would take the highest result you roll. Disadvantage, on the other hand, sadly, you will have to take the lowest result you roll. This is usually given out by the DM. Same for Advantage, it can be given out by the DM for various particular reasons. If you're experienced in a skill, you can usually get advantage with that particular skill and skill for your character. The Dungeon Master might even give you disadvantage if your currently party is under attack by a group of goblins shooting volleys of arrows and you're trying to work under pressure. But yeah, pretty cool. It's really good. It helps you improve your chances basically on getting that important task complete. Then we have a little bit about inspiration. So inspiration is a kind of buff that you can have and use it whenever you want, but once you use it, it is gone. Inspiration is often given as a reward for people who roleplay well, or if they've been given inspiration via the effect of a spell, or as we mentioned here, bardic inspiration. So bardic inspiration is very similar, but does two different things, and they can even function as a combination. So you can get inspiration and bardic inspiration together, so you get double inspiration, but you can't have more than one regular inspiration. There is also, of course, the rule of cool, which is nice that it covers in this earlier in issue. So basically, advantage and inspiration are great ways to reward a player who attempts something special, making them more likely to succeed in their attempt. But occasionally, a player suggests something so cunning or audacious that you want to award it even further. On these very rare occasions, you might choose what some DMs call the rule of cool, allowing the action to automatically succeed because it will be a legendary addition to the storyline. So yeah, that covers our inspiration and advantage. Moving on, then, we learn about resting. So, downtime helps adventurers regain their strength and recharge their abilities. So your hit points, or HP, is basically how long it'll take for your character to hit the dirt. In between adventures, you can restore this via taking one of two options, either a short rest. This is basically just a couple of hours where you're down, resting. You can do a few actions such as eating, drinking, reading, and even healing up tending to your wounds. Or else there's a long rest, which is a more extended period where you get a bit more of a buff and restoration to your character. So yeah, you can again do light activities such as reading, talking, eating, standing watch, and is often done between 2 to 6 hours, and no more than 2 hours of light activity, as we've mentioned there. So again, we cover more in depth about what a short rest does. So when you take a short rest, all your abilities will recharge for example here, our Elven character, her second wind ability will refresh if she's already used it in battle. If you're injured, you get to heal. In this case, you roll your hit dice. So if we take a look at our character sheets, we've got Krantor here. His hit dice is 1d8, so he'd roll that and he'd heal that, plus his constitution bonus, which is +2 there. So he'd heal d8 +2 wounds every short rest. So it explains the number of dice, the size of it, and a few little extra notes here as well. And then it also goes into more explanation about a long rest and how that works. Again, once you complete a long rest, your character will also gain the use of your hit dice to heal, equal to half their level. At first levels, this will always be a single dice. Moving on, we take a look at spellcasting. So, bend the multiverse to your will as you unleash powerful magical effects. So, a lovely little top tip here. If the complex spellcasting rules seem intimidating, try playing Krantor or Irina, a rogue and fighter that can be heroes without magic. It's also okay to make rules mistakes and fix them later on. So yeah, this goes into the lore about the magic and how it's used by the people within the realms. So spellcasters tap into something called the weave, which is where all the raw energies of magic comes from. Of course, that's not the only way we can gain magic, as we'll see over the page. We also have a little box here all about spell slots. So most characters have a set amount of spell slots on their character sheet. So as we see, we got 2 here on Merivik. So you can ready 2 spells each day and cast them during adventures. In addition to his cantrips. So yeah, spell levels. So most spells have a level between 0 and 9, depending on how complex it is. Cantrips are generic spells that you can easily do at a whim and can be cast freely. And then we got a little bit more here about the use of spells. Spells can be used for different purposes depending on the type of spells. So make sure to read the spell descriptions on your character sheets and spell booklets. So that's a little hint as what we're getting in the future. We might be getting a little booklet on the spells, very similar to our introduction to combat booklet from issue 1. So that's going to be quite nice. So yeah, keep a note of which spells you are using each day, and you can of course change them after taking a long rest. So we have an anatomy of the spells. So certain spells will require either a V for verbal, S for semantic, or M for material components in order to cast them. So they're pretty straightforward. Verbal spells require you to be verbal and speak a word. If you are affected by silence or have been gagged, you won't be able to cast any verbal spells. Semantic means a simple gesture, so a flick of a wrist like that will cause a spell to be cast. If you are bound up and tied, you can not cast these unless you have at least one free arm. So if you're able to wriggle an arm free of a knot, you can then quickly cast a fire spell to burn through your ropes and free you and your companions. And then materials. So materials, you will require a certain amount of actual in-game items. These items will be considered to be consumed by the spell. So for instance, a cup of water and a pocket of sand plus a small gem. Those will be consumed by the powers of the spell, destroyed effectively, and then the spell will be cast off as usual. And there's the duration of the spells. So spells will last for a particular amount of time, be it an hour, all day, or a particular encounter. So your next encounter, for example. As I was mentioning, there are other ways you can get magic other than the weave, and that is through divine intervention. So next up, we take a look at one of the key concepts for spellcasting, and that is concentration. Spells that last more than one round is sometimes require the spellcaster's attention to maintain their effects. So concentration is just what it says on the cover. It requires you to have your character be able to keep focus on casting that spell for the duration of the encounter and how long you want that spell to be going on. So casting another spell requires concentration, will break the concentration of your previous spell. If you take damage, you might also have your concentration broken. So you will take a DC save. And if you pass, you keep your concentration. If you fail, it is broken. And if you are incapacitated or killed, of course, the spell will dissipate. Some spells will require rituals. These can be very simple, from muttering a particular phrase to a ritual circle, as we see here, and maybe even a sacrifice. So yeah. And here we have a look at preparing spells for your cleric and wizards. So we have, as I mentioned, the 2 different types of magic. So arcane, this is tapping into the weave. And we have divine. So clerics access the weave. To the weave is mediated by divine power, which might be from gods, divine forces of nature, or the sacred weight of an oath. So yeah. We have little boxes here on how to prepare your spells for your wizard and for your cleric. So very helpful, nicely detailed. Then we have a little box at the bottom covering rest and recharge. Moving on then, we have humans. So we start looking at the different species within the realms. The ability to live fully in the present makes humans well suited to the adventuring life. So, while species such as dwarves, elves, and halflings help bring the fantasy world of Dungeons & Dragons to life, playing a human can add a different dimension. Sometimes being able to see a version of your real-world self in the game is the best way to become fully immersed within it. So yeah, if you've created a character yourself and you put more of yourself into that character, you can bring them to life a lot easier. Likewise, you can do the same if you have a particular favorite pre-created character that you think you can get to grips with and play well. You'll be pretty cool with them as well. So we got a bit about human endeavours and how they make the most of their life because they are so short-lived. And yeah, some humans that practice magic will tend to look towards dark magic to extend their escape from death and extend their life. But this doesn't always go particularly well for them. So there's a broad spectrum of humans in the realms. They are often between 5 and 6 feet in height and weigh between 125 and 250 pounds. And again, their skin and hair vary in shade from dark all the way up to pale. Some are even half-breeds, where they will show the hint of elf, orc, or other lineages. So slightly pointed ears might be you're half-human, half-elf. A slight green tint to your skin might mean you're an orc. And maybe extra beard means you're half-dwarf. Then at the bottom we've got a couple of famous characters from the D&D lore. So from novels, comics, and of course the tabletop adventure and video games. So we've got Elminster the Sage, who's a bit of a Gandalf type character here. Long beard, hat, smoking a pipe, and a staff. So he's a wizard, one of the most powerful characters in all of D&D. His magic is unparalleled, and he's a master of illusions. We also have Catty Bree, the companion of the hall. So she's a fighter. We see she's got bow, a sword, wears light leather armor with a metal shoulder pad there to help defend her on her shooting arm. And yeah, she's a very helpful and bright character. She's described as an emotional compass, and she helps keep all her companions cheerful and happy. And finally, Minsk, who is a ranger. He's very kind-hearted, and he even has a little hamster companion called Boo, who he believes is actually a miniature giant space hamster. Moving on then, we got a character class, and that is our rogue. So this will be Krantor. There are those whose abilities lie not with martial weaponry or magic, but with quiet motion, dexterous action, and stealth. Whether a thief in the shadows or a diplomat in the spotlight, rogues combine agility, composure, charm, and deadly strikes to achieve their goals. So yeah, we look at becoming a rogue. It focuses more on human rogues, as we have one in our collection, but it also goes into a little bit of detail about how a gnome rogue would be. Even covers things such as the Thieves' Cant, which is a specific way that a rogue can communicate using intricate gestures or even specific words in a speech. Skill and precision here, so all about the rogues and their mastery of skills. So most aren't suited for surviving in dungeons. They are usually good at deceiving opponents and disarming traps, opening locks, and some can be pretty nasty in a fight if need be. Now a little bit of a rogue overview here, covering some of what they are and how you can think of a rogue. So we've got a couple of examples of rogues. The famous fictional character Robin Hood, Catwoman from Batman, and Aladdin from, of course, Disney's Aladdin, and even Arya Stark from Game of Thrones there. Just a few examples of how rogues in fiction. So yeah, here we have the box about the Thieves' Cant, their language, and even how they travel and operate within the realms. So yeah, most rogues looking to avoid jail will often take up a honest trade of adventuring. Their skills usually get used unchallenged, though there might be the odd member of a party that thinks, you shouldn't be doing that. Yes, but if I don't do that, we're all going to end up dead. But yeah, moving on then, we got a little bit about how to use a rogue in the first level. So how to use sneak attack. So rogues, being stealthy, deceptive and manipulative, have the ability to do what they call sneak attack damage. So sneak attack, there are two conditions that must be met in order to use this. Meeting either of these conditions while using a ranged or melee weapon, which you have a finesse with the finesse property, can trigger the extra sneak attack damage. So if you have advantage, you'll gain the sneak attack damage. If you have proximity, so if you are really close to your opponent, you will also get that sneak attack damage. And then we have a list of or a table here detailing how much sneak attack damage you do depending on your level. So every other level or every odd level, you gain an extra d6 from 1d6 right up to 10d6 at your 20th level. In order to gain this, you must also be attacking with a finesse weapon, and a list of those can be found here. So daggers, darts, rapiers, scimitars, short swords and whips. And for ranged weapons, blowguns, darts, light crossbows, hand bows, heavy crossbows, short bows, long bows and slings. And here we see a rogue sneaking up on a unsuspecting person, probably going to pinch his money purse there. And what I quite like is if you look at the shadow of his dagger, it is slowly turning into a slithering snake, ready to strike. Right, our final section before we look at the adventure is we start looking at the lore of the Forgotten Realms. So this vast and wondrous world is filled with a diversity of people and a rich, full history. So welcome to the Forgotten Realms. So it's a very Earth-like planet, so you can pretty much imagine what it'd be like to live there. There are fortress cities, there's plenty of woods, loads of mountain ranges, there's islands. And of course we have all the different types of people living within there, so rogues, clerics, wizards, minstrels and peddlers, merchants, guards and soldiers and sailors. So yeah. We have a little box at the bottom all about the continent of Faerun, which is the main continent we're playing over. And of course, our little area we start off is down around here along the Sword Coast. But yeah, really cool, nonetheless. So yeah, we can I'd hope we get one of these maps in a later issue. It'd be quite nice to actually have that map. I don't own that. The only one I have at the moment is the one that comes with this issue, and of course the map of Phandolin from the starter sets. So yeah, continuing, we have the Land of Adventures. There's endless adventures to be found within here. There are always more discoveries being made, so long lost ruins being found. There's always a quest to go on, and there is of course various different enemies. So we have like a zombie dinosaur here. We even have the distant lands, so southern of Faerun is the home of the ancient nations, forbidding jungles and lands destroyed and transformed by magic cataclysms. So we have zombies in the swamp there. So there are other continents within the realms other than the Faerun. So to the east is Karatur, rich treasure of gold and jade. Adventurers seeking fortune will often return with tales of shape changers, horned giants and nightmarish monsters. Far to the south, surrounded by waters thick with pirates, lies Zakara. This boundless desert is sprinkled with glittering cities like scattered gems. Romantic tales are told of scimitar-wielding rogues riding flying carpets in Zakara, and of powerful genies bound to the surface of mortals. And of course, deep below the earth, there is what's known as the network of caverns. So, spreading like spiderwebs beneath all of Toriel's varied lands, the lightless alien place known as the Underdark is home to all sorts of creatures, most of them horrifying that the people of Faerun believe them to be no more than boogeymen made up by mothers to scare the children into behaving. So hopefully we will explore a little more there later on. Right, moving on, we have our encounter, and this is all about the Forgotten Vault. So players, to the following information is for the Dungeon Master's eyes only, so stop looking here. But if you are DM, let's take a quick look through the actual adventure. So players can use the pre-generated characters that came with issue 1, or they can create their own, as usual. Playtime, 1 to 2 hours. So the encounter overview: the Elven Kingdom of Ilia Bruen stretched the length of Neverwinter Wood. The sparkling jewel and its crown is Tinteros, castle of glass and thorns, which served for the summer palace of elven royalty. So yeah, we are asked by a retired adventurer, Darren Edamath, to go seeking for a lost elven ruin within a dungeon. So yeah, we dive through. We got a description here on Darren, what the vault features and how it would look upon arriving. So we got the important maps for our Dungeon Master. So there is a trapdoor at part V1. V2 is the Nightingale floor. V3 is the collapsed chamber over here where the river is tearing through it. V4 is the river. 5 is the false treasury, and 6 is the statue room. So in this adventure we have a few new enemies to face. So we got animated armor, pretty common within dungeon-based adventures. And of course, what dungeon-based adventure isn't including a mimic? And we got a baby mimic here, so just a junior one, not as deadly as larger mimics, but just be careful. And on the back we got a nice little piece of handout to the players. It's kind of annoying that it's not a separate piece, but you are probably free to photocopy this, cut it out, and make it look suitable to hand to your players. But yeah, that was a very interesting issue. Right, let's bring everything back in. I'll give you my final thoughts on it, and then we can cover pricing and the next issue. So that was issue 2 of Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer. Yeah, that was a really good issue. Nice coverage for spellcasting and how to play a rogue, and some nice little bits of background as well. The dice that came with it, like I said, are really fantastic. I think these are probably my favourite set so far, and we're only 2 issues in. The math we get is also quite nice. May pay for you to laminate it if you want to keep it in good condition, because keep unfolding this, it is going to eventually wear the edges where the folds are. So laminating it and then just rolling it up might be your better bet. Then that way you can weigh it down with a few stones in each corner as you play through the missions. But yeah, it's really nice little tool to help the DM and the players get more involved and in depth in their environment. Not a lot else to say, really. Really good issue, like I said. Plenty of bits covered, and again, it's nicely presented and very easy and handy for anyone beginning or even expanding their knowledge on the game. So price then, if you're picking this issue up in store, which it is in store now, so check your local supermarkets and newsagents. It is $4.99, so not a bad price. For a £5 you get a rather cool set of dice, which you normally pay roughly a £5 for these anyway. I usually get them for £4 to £4.50 in my local shop. You also get the map, which is pretty nice, so that adds into the value of the issue. But yeah, pretty good for the $4.99. If this is full price at $8.99, it's, as I've mentioned with issue 1, very hard really to warrant the overall cost. Unless we're going to be getting something really cool and big later down the line, I really don't see $8.99 as being a reasonable price for these magazines. I'd happily pay $6.99, and that's at a stretch. But well, wait and see. I suppose perhaps they'll take feedback after so many issues, and they might lower the price, but I don't see them. Hachette have only really upped their prices. I know when we started with Conquest back in 2016, 17, I think it was. That was $5.99 or $6.99. Then we went up, no, $5.99 for Conquest. We went up to $6.99 for Mortal Realms. Then $7.99 for Imperium, I think it was. No, $8.99 for Imperium and $8.99 for Stormbringer. So yeah, it's gone up to the £3 from when the Conquest collection sort of first started. I don't really see them doing a lower price, but it would be nice, especially in this time of tight funds with the rising cost of everything. I know it does take a lot to print all this stuff and obviously create the dice. But yeah, who knows? Maybe it will eventually. We'll start seeing some cool stuff with each issue that warrants that price. I mean, issue 3, we are getting the first set of plastic figures. It'd be nice if we do get monsters eventually. That'd be quite good to add to our collection. But yeah, plastic figures, I don't know how much they go for. I think they're between 10 and 14, depending on the size of the character pack you can get for them. So these ones are exclusives of a magazine, so they might be worth a little bit more. So next issue's $8.99 price would be pretty good. Free if you are starting your subscription from this issue. I started from issue 1, so I got this issue for free, and I'll be paying a full price for reissue onwards. So yeah, $8.99 it's the normal price, like I've mentioned. I'd like it to be a little bit cheaper, but I'm glad I'm not going for the premium subscription. £2, no, $1.50 extra an issue for a set of coins and a display case for those coins. I don't see that worth it. If perhaps the premium subscription was for some proper 3D models of perhaps adversaries you see between adventures 1 and 20, because you get them roughly get a premium delivery roughly every 20 issues. If they did like premium models sets, that'd be pretty cool. But I think we'll just be seeing those PVC standee models for heroes and hopefully monsters. I really hope we get to see monsters. I'd also like to see a few extra bits that would be ideal for helpful dungeoneers. A dry white marker set, a laminated 1-inch 1-inch square dungeon map, so you can make out your own dungeons. It'd be pretty cool. Maybe even a little kit where you can create your own dungeons with cut-out sections you can put down. As I've mentioned in issue 1, I would like to see 3D elements, so dungeon walls perhaps, doors, treasure chests, tables for inns, etc. Something that will help expand the gameplay and the immersion for everybody. That's just me though. It might be just me, it could be everybody. That's what I'd like to see from this collection going forward. As I mentioned at the start of the video, we have up to issue 9 available to look at online. Just a basic description. We get some nice information from that though, so we know we're getting a new character class in issues 7, 8 and 9. We're covering more and more about the spellcasting in issue 4. And again, we are looking more at the 4 starting characters that we have access to as well, which is pretty cool. So get more and more information on them and their classes and races. So yeah, it's nice. It's going to be a good expansion series. I was going to say something else, but I've forgotten now. Oh yes, what would warrant the price was if you also got a digital copy of each issue and any bits to go with it. That would be pretty cool. That way you have a backup in case this lot got damaged by a flood or fire. You have the digital copy that you can keep and use on like a tablet or something. That'd be pretty cool if they did that with the rest of the collection. That'd be pretty cool. I have seen a few people mention about how handy it will be to reference back to specific sections. My only suggestion is, as these magazines are intended to be peeled apart, bundle up together all the sections to do with a specific class or race. Use some treasury tags and make little booklets that you can hand out to the person playing that particular character. So gather all the human and rogue elements together into one little bundle and pass it to the person who's playing Krantor. So yeah, that's my little suggestion for that. You can easily get a pack of about 20 treasury tags for about £6 in Smith's. I've picked up some for making mini booklets for all my Imperium stuff. I've got all the data sheets into individual booklets for all the 4 factions we got, and I did it for all the different mission packs as well. It's very handy. I can easily just flick through and it's there all together. So yeah, that's what I suggest you do once we start getting more in depth. Keep all your lore and stuff in the folders. Once you get your first folder, which will be free with your 3rd delivery, you can at least start storing some of your stuff in there. You'll have, of course, dividers, so color-coded to red, blue, gold, green, ready for all your different sections. So that'd be pretty handy at least. Whether they'll be divided up again, that'd be quite nice if you had like a main section and then each individual section after that was divided. So like a section for A, and then we have a section divider for C, etc, etc. We'll find out once we get our 3rd delivery though. So yeah. Right, I think I've rambled on long enough. I've probably repeated myself several times, but that's what we do here at Mad Merlins. But thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section down below, and let me know how you're getting on with your Dungeons and Dragons Adventurer collection. I should be getting my next delivery hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Issue 2 is currently in shops as of today, which is the 5th of October. So issue 3 will be out next Wednesday, I believe. So I will be having to wait until my subscription. I should hopefully be getting it by the time issue 4 or 5 is out in the shops. So yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. So I'll keep you posted on my YouTube channel and my other social medias, which there are links for, of course, in the video description down below. But yeah, I'll say thank you again for watching, and I will catch you next time for more Dungeons and Dragons Adventurers. So stay safe and roll those crits.